My name is Christopher Koje, the CEO of Obilu Farms. So I specialize in organic poultry, and I'm into training. I'm also a YouTuber. Organic poultry farming is a type of poultry farming that doesn't require you to use synthetic medications such as antibiotics, anticoccidosis, and different other medications, even as well as vaccination. Under organic farming, you do not vaccinate. You just let your chicken live a natural life. They communicate with herbs. So in reality, under organic farming, what we do is, instead of using synthetic medication, we preferably use herbs, which is made up of the roots, or majorly made up of stems and leaves of plants around you. There are a couple of plants we've come to discover under organic farming that are very helpful and healthy for animal consumption and also for their health. And we have a whole lot of benefits of organic farming. In short, it's even far better for you as human, for us as human, to consume organically raised poultry or organically raised birds than to consume those other ones that are raised synthetically, because most of all those drugs being used to raise chicken, they have adverse effect on human being. They have adverse effect on human health and all that. For instance, the average shelf life for a particular vaccine in the life of an animal is supposed to be like 6 months, but unfortunately we do not wait up till that 6 months before we consume most of these birds that we are raising. Majority of these birds are, like you can see in my background, these ones you can see here, they are just 2 months and 2 weeks. And for instance, I vaccinate them with vaccines that are supposed to last for about 6 months in them. And then right now they are due for market. And then somebody come buy them and consume them. That vaccine is automatically transmitted into that human being. And most of the time, these are what reduces our lifespan as human beings. So with this video too, I'm just trying to advocate for everybody to try as much as possible to embrace organic farming. It is safer, better, and best. Who can practice organic poultry farming? Yes, as far as you are ready to practice farming in the first instance, you can practice organic poultry farming. In short, it's even better for you. It's less cost effective compared to, spending on drugs and medication for your birds. Because what you just simply do is you just have to learn the skill of what herbs to use at a particular time and to fight against a particular trait of disease. So most of the time, we make sure that we have a routine of administering this herbal medication to them. Even like human beings, you see that most time you see people consuming agbo, and they prefer it to buying synthetic drugs at the drugstores, just because it is more like you are communicating with nature. It helps you better. And what we are trying to answer right here is, who can practice organic poultry? Be you a young farmer, an old farmer, an aged farmer, you can embrace it. It's very simple, and that is what we are going to be learning in this video. So let's go on. In terms of affordability, organic farming is very, very, very affordable. In short, it's the cheapest type of farming I've come to discover, because I used to practice synthetic farming. When I was practicing synthetic farming, there was a particular farming season that I had a serious battle with a particular disease known as coccidosis. Every farmer should know that coccidiosis is the toughest disease a farmer can ever have to battle with, have to contend with. Every week, I kept on treating coccidiosis under synthetic farming. Apart from coccidiosis, I had other challenges. That to the extent that you use a particular drug, it's not working, you have to go and buy again, Most of all these drugs, they are not cheap. At a point, when I sat down to calculate how much I spent on drugs in a particular season, I found out that I spent roughly 25 to 30,000 naira on drugs alone, raising a particular season of my farm. And in reality, where does that fit into? I need to calculate it into my loss. And actually, it didn't go down well with that particular season of my farm until I embraced organic farming. And since I embraced organic farming, look, it's been very, in short, every season has been so sweet. Most time we experience zero mortality throughout. Sometimes if we may experience some mortality, it could be as a result of SDS, which means sudden death syndrome, and it could be as a result of accidental discharge. Maybe somebody matched any of them when they were so small, or maybe use drinker fall on any of them. All those accidental discharge could be what takes them. But when a farmer is actually confused is when disease is what is collecting the life of his animals. So now, from all this analysis, you can see that organic farming is far cheaper. You source them from the herbs, from plants around you. Well, free range or restricted system, the question here is, can we practice organic farm under free range or under restricted system or poultry farm? Good, it's possible. But first, let us understand what is free range or restricted poultry farm. Restricted poultry farm is a type of farm where, just like you have it behind me now, you have them restricted or confined in a particular place. They are not allowed to move out for one reason or the other. Maybe the space is not enough for security reasons or many other things. You do not want them to go out. But when you have the other case of free range, the case of free range is that they have free space to move around. Just like in a big compound where you have grasses and all, you allow them to move around freely. They communicate with herbs and the grasses around, and they also have the chance to pick worms in the soil. You can see them, scraping the ground and doing dust bath and all that. So they enjoy all that. It contributes to their health. It contributes to their, in short, even reduce your cost of feeding them, because at the time they are not eating your formulated feed or the ready-made feed you are giving them, they are eating grasses and other herbs around, and it's both medicinal to them and also fill their stomach for that moment, because it is nutritious and all that. So you see, your farm will be growing fast. But if you do not have a space to practice free range, you can as well carry out your organic poultry system in a restricted area. It doesn't mean that since you are putting your chicken in a restricted area that you must be using synthetic medications for them. No, you can use organic medication for chicken under a restricted area. Like you can see in my background now, this particular farm is restricted, but we practice organic farm here. Even in our new site, though we are no longer going to be practicing restricted there, we are going to be practicing what we call poultry tractor system or chicken tractor system. We will deal with that in a subsequent video, how to practice a chicken tractor system. Thank you. Under this organic farm that we are talking about, my brothers, you will enjoy it because number one, your chicken are always healthy every time. You hardly come to the farm and see your chicken not active. But that does not outrun the fact that you must have a sick bay in your farm. You must have a sick bay in your farm. No matter how big or small no matter how big or small your farm is, you should try as much as possible to have a sick bay, a little cage set aside so that whenever you notice any abnormality in the life of a particular chicken among the rest chicken, separate that particular chicken, take it to the sick bay and monitor that particular chicken right there and see that it's back to vigor before you can add the chicken back to the group. Feed fermentation is a very, very important topic under organic farm. It's a very, very important topic. Feed fermentation is, even in real life, fermentation of food it dates back to years ago when it was discovered that when you ferment feed or food that human beings take is healthier and better for human. Because what does fermentation do in food or feed? Fermentation is just a way of pre-digesting food. It's a way of pre-digesting food. So it's when a food is pre-digested and you now introduce it to your animal, their rate of assimilating the vitamins and the minerals and the nutrients embedded in that food is faster and wholesome. When you ferment feed, it is moist and aqueous. In short, it's aqueous in appearance. When we'll be doing this practical, you will see how to ferment feed and how fermented food look like. And even when you look at the yogurt that human beings consume, is born out of fermentation of milk and other things, and is healthier than you just consuming direct milk. So also is fermentation of feed for chicken. So when you ferment feed, you have helped them to pre-digest it, like I have said. You have helped them to pre-digest it, and now you're just giving it to them. The process of digesting the food is faster, and when they now pull it out, you see that most of the nutrients from the food has been extracted already, and you see that they will now start putting up weight seriously and quickly. So in reality, if you want to compare it, you discover that when you want to use their manure to raise other plants and all that, you see that the manure from unfermented feed, manure that is gotten from a farm that is fed with unfermented feed, is more nutritious to plants than the one that is gotten from a farm that is fed with fermented feed. Why? Because the animal that fermented feed has been fed to has extracted most of the nutrients, majority of the nutrient out of that food before excreting it as a manure. So with this, you can now see that fermenting feed is of high advantage to your farm. And most times when your chicken gets used to fermented feed, you see that they will appreciate the feed so well, and they consume less of water because much of the food that they have already eaten is in aqueous format.